In this video, we are forecasting severe weather in the upper Midwest all the way down into the deep south. Additionally, a major pattern shift is about to occur, bringing multiple chances of big storms in the future. You may be surprised as to what kind of impacts you can expect from these storms. All that info and more is coming right up. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. I'm sick. The sun comes out, the weather becomes nice for a little bit, and I get sick. It's just a cold, it's nothing too bad, but if I seem a little down today or a little bit less enthused, just know I'm fine, okay? It's hard to talk, but we do have weather to talk about, so let's get into that right now. All right, let's start off by taking a look at the entire lower 48 here on the NAM 3-kilometer model. This is gonna show us what the radar could look like as we go into the future, and we're starting off at 2 p.m. Eastern today. Let's skedaddle all the way out here to 8 p.m. All the action over here on the west coast. From the central coast of California up through Oregon, Idaho, and even into Montana, we are seeing rain and snow showers. Nothing crazy unless you're up there in the higher elevations where some of those mountaintops are going to be seeing some really incredible snowfall rates and some deep snowfall totals. Let's keep pushing her forward. That snow and rain is going to let up over here as our next system is trying to get its act together over here above Arizona and Utah. Not a lot happening on the surface, but a lot is happening in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which will spark our next storm that we're talking about. The reason we're making this video, you can see everything's coming together here. 10 p.m. Friday, March 4th. We've got a lot more convection in the form of snow showers across the plateaus and the Rockies, but a bona fide surface low pressure system is forming here around Colorado into Nebraska as we get into Saturday, and this is what's going to spark our next system. You can already see a little bit of a warm front trying to advect some precipitation in Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, all the way up into Canada in the form of ice and snow. Remember, the purple is going to be freezing rain, the blue is going to be snow. But watch over here in Iowa, some increased areas of green and yellow is going to start showing up, and that's rain and thunderstorms. That's right, severe weather is possible down here, and heavy rain all the way up into Wisconsin, possibly some very heavy snow back here in South Dakota and Minnesota, and then a very thin band of sleet and freezing rain in the middle, and that's as far out as our radar will go right now. But that does bring us to the next section of the video that we have to focus on, and that's going to be our severe weather threat. All right, let's zoom in a little bit and start talking about that severe weather. It's actually going to be a multi-day severe weather system that comes out of this, starting way up here in Iowa. And one of the reasons why I'm calling this a strange storm is because in March, especially in early March, you would expect the severe weather to be occurring south of Iowa. Okay, it wouldn't even be that big of a deal if it was in central Illinois or up here in Kansas. It's certainly not down here in the south. But the fact that we're talking about potentially severe weather all the way up here into Iowa, close to Minnesota in early March does make this a strange storm. Our temperatures are going to be up near 60 degrees around 5 p.m. on Saturday, and you can see our cold front coming in, our warm front advecting up here. That low pressure center is somewhere back in here, and that is going to allow for the formation of storms on the edge of that dry line and cold front. Here's a look at the moisture, the dew points out there. Once again, mid 50s all the way up into Iowa, and then that dry line is going to come through and sweep those moisture values out of here, forcing the warm air up into the atmosphere and causing thunderstorms. And once again, severe weather is possible here. We do have that slight risk from the National Weather Service. And if we switch over to the Euro on the instantaneous flash rate, you can see very clearly where we expect those storms to happen. And, you know, some storms could be possible all the way down here into Missouri, but the strongest ones, the most severe weather is going to be happening up here in the Iowa area through the day on Saturday, okay? The biggest threats here are going to be straight line damaging winds and hail. There's an isolated chance for a tornado, but right now the tornado threat doesn't look all that crazy. Just be weather aware up there. I know a lot of you guys aren't thinking about severe weather in March, but the threat does extend down to the south as we head later on into Sunday. Look at this. Here we are around 3 p.m. on Sunday. Now this is more where we would expect the severe weather. We do expect some big storms to pop up from Oklahoma all the way into Arkansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and these also have the potential to be very strong, potentially damaging thunderstorms as we go from Sunday into Monday. So this looks like a little bit more of a significant situation as far as severe weather goes. But as of right now, all we know is that the ingredients are there, okay? I'm not sure if this is going to be mainly a damaging wind thing, or potentially we might have to worry about tornadoes with this one. We'll know a lot more tomorrow, but right now, I'm saying that all hazards are possible. So just be prepared down there as we get into early next week. Big storms are brewing and then look at this as we go all the way into Monday. Big storms down here, possibly from the Gulf Coast all the way up into Middle Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky, and that is more than likely going to be another time that we have to watch for severe weather as well. So that's what we're looking at. That's the full progression. A strange storm is going to bring some very warm air all the way up into the upper Midwest, sparking off some severe weather, and then forcing that down further to the south and east as we get into Sunday and Monday. And of course, we're going to be updating you daily now on this until it's all over, okay? But here's the thing, I don't know when it's going to be all over, because this storm is going to trigger a major change in our weather pattern that we will talk about more here in a minute. But first, let's talk about the snow side of these storms. All right, that's right. There's not just severe weather that we've got to talk about. We also have heavy snow back here from California all the way up into Montana and Wyoming on Saturday. That's going to kind of consolidate a little bit closer behind the low pressure here on Sunday and bring some heavy snow to, once again, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, maybe even right after the severe weather in Iowa. As we get into the overnight and early morning hours on Sunday, you might see heavy snow right after that, so that's very possible. Look at this big band of ice in Wisconsin all the way up into Canada. Portions of Ontario and Quebec could see some pretty heavy ice from this. That is only going to intensify as it gets deeper into Ontario and Quebec. And then, of course, it's just a regular rainstorm in the northeast, okay? And then on Sunday, March 6th, okay, when our next severe weather threat starts breaking down here, look at that snow in Kansas, into Missouri, now into Iowa. This is probably going to be another quick hitting snowstorm for you guys that drops, possibly more than 3-4 inches of snow for a lot of people. So that'll be a high impact storm for some of you. And look at all that heavy rain in the Ohio Valley. This is some of the flash flooding potential that we've been talking about. That's still on the table. Snow might break out in upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire on Monday, with a little band of freezing rain possibly in the middle there in northern PA, all the way into the southern New England areas, okay? So ice and snow is possible for you, but mostly the further north you go, the more likely it is that you're all snow, and the further south you go, especially as you go down towards the mid-Atlantic regions and on the southeastern coastline, we're talking about just plain rain for you, okay? And that is going to kind of lock in the cold air for us, which sets the stage for our next storm, which once again we're going to talk about here in a second. First of all, let's look at those snow totals. Thin band of an inch or two all the way down into Texas from that second storm, possibly getting over 4 or 5 inches in Iowa. Chicago looks like a 2 to 3 inch kind of deal for you. Detroit might be getting in on more than 6 inches with this. And then upstate New York into Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern Maine looks like the winners for this system, possibly getting well over 6 inches of snow by the time this is all said and done. Remember though, guys, as we get closer to this, there will be minor shifts. I do believe this could go a little bit further south or a little bit further north. Just make sure you're subscribed and continue to watch these updates. And look at all this snow over here in the higher elevations on the West Coast, guys. You are going to be pummeled by moisture as these storms continue to form, one right after the other in the central portion of the U.S. As that moisture transport from the Pacific happens, a lot of it's going to get strung out in the mountains in the form of snow. Freezing rain, once again, is possible, especially up here from Wisconsin into southern portions and southeastern portions of Canada. And then another heavy area of icing might be possible from northern Pennsylvania into upstate New York and portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, especially in the hills closer to the western side of Massachusetts. That's where we're kind of looking at maybe a 1/4 inch of ice through Tuesday and Wednesday, okay? All right, let's talk about our next big storm, our major pattern shift, and our potential Arctic blast that's coming in. So here's a map that shows temperature anomalies, okay? Everybody in the reds is seeing above average temperatures, and everybody in the blues and the purples is seeing much below average temperatures. This is for Sunday, so, the reason we're having that strange storm sparking the severe weather up here in the north is because we have much higher than average temperatures for a lot of areas in the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes region. We're having fun in the sun over here, especially the further south you go. If you're away from the precipitation, that's not going to last for long, okay? Look at all the colder air building back here in the west. That is going to push the warm air out of the way and cause our storms and our rain and potentially our snow up there in the northeast. And then by Tuesday and 7 p.m., everybody is below average pretty much. It's going to be a little chilly for everyone as we set the stage for our next system to come in. And look at this. The next one does come in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, this is way out on March 12th. Look at this, guys. Talk about below average temperatures as a huge trough is forecasted to come in and absolutely disrupt our weather pattern and cause all kinds of crazy things to happen. Look at this. giant explosion of Arctic air into the central and eastern portions of the U.S. as we get into the middle of March. Some of you guys might be excited about this because you love snow. Some of you guys are not going to like this news at all. You're not going to like it even more once I tell you what this could cause as we go forward. So here's a look at our 500 millibar heights. Okay, we have talked about this a lot. It's our red blobs and our blue blobs. This little trough here is what's causing our strange storm and our severe weather Saturday through Monday. And as that kind of flattens out and goes off to the north and east, it is going to suppress the weather a little bit further to the south and east as well. And that's why we're going to see severe weather a little bit further to the south. And we're going to see that rain and snow extend a little bit further to the east on Tuesday and the Wednesday. But that one little storm has triggered a major pattern shift now where we have this huge decreased high area taken over across the country. This is why we're all going to see below average temperatures. Because it is March, we're going to see like the ridges are going to start fighting. Okay, they're going to try to come back. Warm air advection is going to try to happen, but the forcing from this big potential trough system is going to be too strong, and it's actually going to amplify it. And we are going to be seeing, once again, I've been talking about this for a month now, a potential major March snowstorm for somebody east of this line right here, okay? And the latest GFS does say that something significant is going to happen here around March 12th. Big extending trough, big ridge in the west. This is the perfect setup for a snowstorm, possibly along the East Coast, the Ohio Valley, even, you know, up here in the upper Midwest. Somebody's going to get it with this one. I can promise you that. And here's the crazy thing. Right after that, another one does try to come in, and we are stuck in this situation where we've got potential storms coming down this way, combining with storms that form in the Gulf. And depending on what kind of blocking we have off of the East Coast, we could see a couple major March snowstorms as we go forward. Now, I know some of you guys like looking at the surface map because it draws it out for you. Snow is blue, pink is freezing rain, green is rain. But let me tell you, once we get past like this moment right here, Monday, the surface map really is wrong a lot of times, okay? But we will look at it just to see what that next big storm does look like. We know what it looks like in the upper air analysis, but what does it look like here? And wow, yeah, that is a major storm shown by the GFS there. Look at all the cold air coming down. Look at all the warm air out in front of it. Heavy, big-time snowstorm, a 979 millibar low pressure center. That would bring blizzard conditions to a lot of people. But as you can tell, this is, leaving the Northeast completely rainy until, the backside starts blowing in that cold air. And this is kind of a heavy snowstorm for the central U.S. all the way up into the Great Lakes and into Canada. But is that the way that it's going to happen? No, guys, this is completely wrong. This is la la land. This is cuckoo. We need to focus on the upper air analysis before we start paying too close of attention to the surface maps. But, we're just looking at this for fun. I know some of you guys like to see it. Euro shows something very similar with a giant area of cold air coming down, low pressure center, combining with some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and of course a monster snowstorm for the East Coast over here. So something like this, or like that other one on the GFS, or anywhere in between is going to happen as we get into the middle of March. Subscribe to the channel if you want constant updates. In just a couple of days, we're going to have a much better idea as to what we can actually expect from these upcoming storms. We do need to take it one storm at a time, though, and be weather aware in Iowa all the way down through the deep south for that severe weather, okay? A huge shout out to our members over here. Thank you for supporting the channel. I know a lot of you guys reached out after the last video for moderator positions and weather analyst positions, but now we need video editors and graphic designers. So send an email to community@ryanhaulyall.com with your credentials if you think you can help us out here with your experience with Photoshop, Final Cut, Premiere, or anything like that, okay? We'll be looking forward to hearing from you. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.